But Chief Justice Martha Koome now says judicial officers will not be intimidated in their mandate to deliver justice on various issues before the courts. In a statement, the Chief Justice said the judiciary has recently been subjected to public criticism and vilification, but assured Kenyans that all cases before the courts will be handled with utmost judicial independence and without fear or favor.
Wa Kenya tusiwapunguzie hawa wenye mapato ya chini kutoka 500 mpaka 300 waendelee kulipa 500 na wao waendelee kuiba hiyo pesa. Ati wa Kenya waendelee kuishi kwa slums. Ati wa Kenya wasipate nyumba. Na hawa ambao wako kotini ni watu wako na medical insurance inalipwa na wa Kenya.
A day after President William Ruto claimed a section of the judges were being bribed to derail the Kenya Kwanza administration development agenda, the President of the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Martha Koome, is no longer holding back. In a statement, Chief Justice Martha Koome says allegations that some officers from the judiciary have been operating with impunity are false and urged magistrates and judges to exercise their duties in accordance with the law. The Chief Justice says Kenyans have a right to seek judicial redress on areas of concern and also called upon state officials to respect decisions by the courts. According to the Chief Justice, complaints on corruption within the judiciary should be forwarded before the Judicial Service Commission instead of vilifying judicial officers in public. Sentiments echoed by Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition leader Raila Odinga, who faulted the president for constantly attacking the judiciary.
The judiciary is too critical to the well-being of our country and our democracy, making it extremely important that we call Ruto out and tell him that he has crossed the line. It is ridiculous to now hear the biggest political beneficiary of judicial decisions in Kenya's history now accuse the institution of sabotaging him. But this is not about the judiciary. This is about where Ruto wishes to take Kenya and what it means for Kenyans.
Speaking in Mombasa, Odinga claimed intimidation of judicial officers was a threat to the Constitution. Meanwhile, the Law Society of Kenya has called on its members to participate in the countrywide protest slated for next week to reaffirm their oath to defend the Constitution. Law Society of Kenya President Eric Theuri says the protest will be held in solidarity with the judiciary following continued attacks on it. For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mongai.
All right, and now we have a statement from Hussein Mohammed, the State House spokesperson, and that is as regards the criticism that the president has faced today, particularly from the Law Society of Kenya that has called for demonstrations next week, really, from their members to protest against the president's would-be interference with the judiciary. And the statement is quite long, really, defending the president's remarks during his New Year Day speech, as well as his speech during the burial of the father to Nyandero Senator John Medhu. But I'll just take about 4 paragraphs very quickly because it's really a long statement. And Hussein says, corruption, whether within the judiciary, the executive or the legislature, and indeed among the general public, must not find refuge behind the shield of judicial independence. It is our duty to expose and hold accountable those who engage in corrupt practices, whoever they may be and wherever they are. He goes ahead to say, historically, Kenya has been held back by a few corrupt individuals and those with vested interests who impede inclusive national development. There is a moment in history when our country has a chance to break free from the chains of impunity and realize the transformation mandated by the people and legislated by Parliament. This can only be achieved by countering the influence of vested interests and corrupt judicial officers. Hussein Abbas, it would be a dereliction of the president's oath of office and a betrayal of the people's mandate to allow their hopes and aspirations to be obstructed by corruption and impunity. Just last month, independent institutions were stopped from charging suspects of corruption. Should individuals investigated by the DCI and the EACC find refuge in courts to circumvent the criminal justice system, it is unacceptable that such suspects are now roaming free in our streets with impunity. no stretch of imagination can baptize this as judicial independence. It is indeed judicial impunity. And lastly, says, shall we tolerate the plight of millions of young people languishing in unemployment? Shall millions of Kenyans persist in enduring impoverishment due to exorbitant medical bills and the loss of loved ones lacking access to universal health coverage? Shall millions of our fellow citizens continue living in squalor, with 7 million Kenyans residing in slums? The executive is mandated to deliver to the people after an election. Should the president fulfill commitments to the people and their needs, or should the executive seek concurrence from the judiciary to deliver on what the people voted for? That's the statement from Hussein Mohammed. He's the State House spokesperson and really appearing to defend President William Ruto from criticism that has been coming from all corners for the better part of the day today, accusing him of attempts to interfere with the independence of the judiciary or intimidating judges.